For what would you give your all? I am a woman deeply troubled, Hannah explains to Eli. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Hannah was one of Elkanah's wives, whom he loved greatly, but she did not have children. Elkanah's other wife, Peninnah, had several children, and particularly in the context of their time, this was an experience of significant pain and vulnerability for Hannah. She was praying at the temple when Eli jumped to a rather unflattering conclusion about her. He misunderstood her fervent prayer, and she quickly put him right. I am a woman deeply troubled, she lamented. I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Far from a drunkard, Hannah was a woman of deep and faithful forbearance. Thankfully, Elkanah wasn't the jerk that Eli was. Elkanah knew and loved Hannah, giving her a double portion of sacrifice. He wanted her to be happy and for her to know her value and worth. But unfortunately, even that wasn't enough to console her. Hannah would give her all to birth a male child. O Lord of hosts, Hannah begged, if only, remember me, give to your servant a male child. If only you would grant this one request, this core desire of my heart, I will set him before you as a Nazirite until the day of his death. In other words, I will give up the male child you grant me. I will dedicate him fully and completely to you, if only. Haven't we all tried to bargain with God like that at one time or another? Hannah would give her all for the desire of her heart. She would even give up the thing she wants so deeply, if only she could have it in the first place. For what would you give your all? Kate Bowler is a best-selling author, church historian, divinity school professor, and podcaster who also knows the pain, vulnerability, and prayer of giving her all. Having been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at the age of 35, she has faced mortality and a pervasive uncertainty in life. One of the pieces of her hard-earned wisdom coming from the experience is summarized with the phrase, limited agency. Limited agency is the space between the popular cultural script of everything is possible and the despair of nothing is possible. Having been so sick in a world of everything is possible, instead of giving up or giving in to nothing is possible, she started looking for ways to engage in life with hope and joy through the question, what is possible today? There is so much we can't control in our world, in our lives, or in our church. We aren't in charge of very much most of the time. So what is our agency? What can we do today? For what will we give our all, even understanding and accepting and leaning in to the reality of limited agency? In her charge at our recent diocesan synod, Bishop Anna leaned into the mantra she first presented at the last synod: the future is not going to look like the past, and the future is bright. She recognized the ways in which all manner of people and parishes are living into that bright future. And more, she described a how of moving from the past through our current reality to our bright future. Instead of trying to build a bridge directly from here to there, which we have usually done by tried to do by creating a strategic plan, she described instead a path of descent and ascent, death and resurrection. This journey involves deep listening, listening beyond simply downloading past patterns. It involves shifting focus from me to we, loving our neighbor as ourself. And it includes practicing silence and prayer. It is a journey that requires open minds, open hearts, and open wills. Open minds, open hearts, and open wills are also needed for the ascent to the bright future through iteration, experimentation, trying things, learning, and trying again. It means going all in, giving our all while knowing that our all is limited, and trusting that our limited all is enough. At our parish retreat next weekend, we will lean into our limited agency, each in our own way, as each person offers their leadership and their followership, with ideas, questions, and perspectives. We do this in community, such that no one person is responsible for everything, and everyone is responsible for something. We begin at 5 o'clock on Friday with a time of prayer, followed by dinner provided by our community events team. And then we take time to reflect on the results of the questionnaire that you completed last month. The questionnaire offers us a window into our current state, who we are as a community today. It doesn't tell us everything, of course, but it does provide data to ground us in current realities. Interpreting what that data means for us will be up to us to discuss. Saturday is when we really dig into, for what would you give your all? The open space process means that the agenda for the day will be developed by the participants on that morning. In preparation, you're encouraged to think about, consider what matters to you most about the parish, about your faith, and about our future. What conversation do you consider most critical for our present and our future? What do you care about most deeply? What do you want to engage with others in the community about? Individuals will take responsibility for the conversations on the topics they propose, and off we'll go to join in the conversations that matter to us the most. The process relies on a high level of both freedom and responsibility. It's an exciting opportunity to come together in community to reflect on what our collective all might be and what we might be willing to give for it. For what would we give our all? Nobody has responsibility for everything. Everyone has responsibility for something. The challenge and gift is always figuring out what my responsibility is, and then encouraging others in theirs. It's the same dynamic that we live out each year through our stewardship. Stewardship is quite simply what we do with what we have. It's about how we use or spend our resources, what we have been given by God, our time, our talent, our treasure, our power and our agency, our political will, our charitable impulse, our passion for justice, our anger, and our hope. Your stewardship pledge is a personal act of commitment, an important part of how you participate in the whole and engage in your limited agency. Between everything is possible and nothing is possible, we give our all to God in prayer, in service, and in love, trusting in God to bring it to completion.